Hello guys, Termex here, and welcome back to another video. I know, it's been a freaking minute, hasn't it? Actually, it's been almost 30 days. Yeah, hopefully we never do this again. But in all seriousness, I am back to the whole YouTube thing, and honestly, I just been kind of thinking. I've been thinking about the future of my content, and I've mainly just been thinking about things I want to post, and I always want to be within the Borderlands scene. It's just Wonderlands hasn't really been doing much, and there's not really much for me to cover on the game. And to be honest with you, I'm just not really enjoying the game. I mean, in the background footage, you can see I'm going to be playing Borderlands, a pre-sequel. This is the Exodus mod, which is basically a mod that actually adds bonus content to the game. So I'm basically having a blast with that at the moment. But honestly, this video is something I want to get across to you guys as more of a quick little update and letting you know what is in my head, because the state of Wonderlands is not very good. I just want to quickly break down why I am kind of taking a step away from the game. In my previous video, I did say I stopped playing Wonderlands and why I did, but I feel like I didn't actually give enough constructive criticism in my eyes to warrant stepping away without saying some things I think need to be said about said game. And of course, I am not just simply talking about, you know, the thing that you've seen with every other YouTuber talking about the drop rates and all that, but that is part of the issue. But in all honesty, the main issue with the game is just, in general, lack of content. The skill trees are pretty awesome, but the whole multi-class system seems very secondary, and it doesn't seem like the second class you pick really makes much of an impact. If anything, it always seems like the second class is just piggybacking to make your main class better, not really multi-classing and getting the benefits of both worlds. I rarely see any builds where both classes' skill trees really matter that much. It's traditionally just one skill tree that matters the most, and the other skill tree just makes it a little bit better. And people are going to argue, well, there's 6 classes, Termex. You're complaining about 6 classes at launch? Yes, there is 6 different playable characters in 6 different skill trees, equivalent to 2 traditional Vault Hunters in that sense. When you look at the opposing force of something like BO3, where we had a whopping grand total of 16 skill trees on top of 4 action skills per character, 2 to 4 augments per tree, the build diversity in Borderlands 3 is truly unmatched, and Wonderlands comes nowhere close to Borderlands 3's build diversity whatsoever. And in all honesty, the rest of the Season Pass DLC is going to be just 2 more mirrors like we have already received, and I don't want to stay around for that. I mean, sure, I might hop on and try them and try out the new guns for an hour or so, but I'm not going to cover content on a new gun so I could just try it on the same thing that we've been doing for the past 2 months now. It's just not something I really find that enjoyable, and not something I want to see reflect with my content. I don't want to become somebody who forces myself to post the game just because it's relevant at the moment when I'm not enjoying the said title itself. And I'm just in general not enjoying the direction of the game because there is so much untapped potential within the game that it truly makes me sad. I just don't understand why we can't implement simple fixes, turning the mirror bosses into raid bosses perhaps, skipping the entire area where you're just killing ads over and over. It very much seems like the endgame grind for the Wonderlands game as a whole is to just constantly do Chaos Chamber and farm and farm and farm, and then what are you going to do after? Exactly. You're going to do even more Chaos Chamber with that gear you just now farmed. So what's the end goal at the end of the day? To make the Chaos Chamber runs faster and get the time faster? Are we working against a clock just for flexing rights? Because that's really all it seems to be at the moment. But just know that my love for the game isn't shattered by the game itself in terms of the story, in terms of the developers and the characters. Has nothing to do with those things. Sure, the developers do entirely reflect how the game turned out content-wise, but the game itself is a fantastic foundation. The foundation for Wonderlands is like a house. It is like 10 inches of pure steel ready to be built upon. But for some reason, we are building a wooden house with stick insulation on top of this perfect foundation, and it really makes no sense. And that's kind of the perfect picture I could paint for the title at the moment. I'm not going to sit here and just say game bad because I beat game. I mean, there's infinite possibilities within Wonderland, sure, but those possibilities are limited when you're not talking about your casual player. From a content creation side of things, it's just not fun. And I don't want to speak for anyone else in the community, but you may have noticed that a lot of other Borderlands content creators are also taking a step back, because it's not only me, it's not only everyone else, but if you are making content on a game, that game has to at least hold you over. Hell, Borderlands 2 is still keeping people over, but I'm not going to get into that game because every time I mention it, it always turns into a comparison, and that's not what I'm trying to do. This video is focused on Wonderlands. Another gripe I would love to see changed if I revisit the game in the future is simply simply give us some longer DLCs. I know this is a big ask considering what they are doing is something new and something they want the vision of the game to be, but it just truly doesn't make sense that you would make players pay $10 a pop for a DLC that lasts them 10 minutes. I get it, if you gave all 4 mirrors for $10 and made it part of the season pass, players would not be mad at all. But the fact you're charging a whole season pass for 30 minutes worth of content collectively is very, very ridiculous in my eyes, and I was never a fan of time gating the DLC in the first place, just due to the fact that it's basically drip feeding content, and it didn't really work out in the slow burn way that they originally intended. What they intended was for the slow burn to take place to where you can come back to the DLC and feel like it was fresh. Yet nothing really changed other than the boss's health bar and maybe a piece of dialogue or two, and that was the big issue. Traditional games with live service content that update weekly are way more impactful. Take Warframe for example. Warframe does change week to week when it comes to certain mission types, certain rewards, and other things that are locked only to those days. And there is a trader on Warframe that comes once a week, incentivizing players to come back to the game because that trader could always bring something new and unique, different from the previous week for people to then obtain. Borderlands does not give that incentive in this title, and it just simply shows because nobody cares until the final week. Why would I kill the ones in between when nothing really changes other than the health bar? Might as well just wait till it's finally out and then give it a shot. And one last little minor gripe of mine that I will get across before I do conclude this video, I am really not a big fan of the legendary weapons in Wonderlands, just due to the fact that the purple weapons in that game have always been miles better. The flavor of legendaries has just been so overly saturated within Wonderlands that it kinda hurts. At this point, Wonderlands and Legendary seem like all gimmicks. Every weapon that you get that is Legendary has a wonky, funny gimmick like, haha, this is Borderlands, and then you realize it completely sucks. You get your 10 seconds of laughter, and then there's really nothing left for the gun to be good about. But with purples, on the other hand, they're just monsters at whatever category that they drop for. The SMGs are insane, dropping at ×4. The rocket launchers are crazy, dropping upwards of ×4. It's honestly insane how a lot of the weapons in the game could just be way more powerful, and they're basically nameless gear. And that kind of ruins the chase for Borderlands and just the loot chase in general. When you played something like the pre-sequel or even Borderlands 2, there was always a legendary gun you always wanted because you loved that it did this. You loved that it rolled with this element and this other thing. You always loved that legendary weapon or piece of gear because of what it did, like the sham shield. You wanted to farm a absorb shield, go get a sham shield. That thing does it perfectly at the cost of reduced capacity, but if you had a purple variant of the sham shield, you would have probably half the absorb chance, but double the capacity. So it's basically a trade-off for gear, and that legendary status is maintained while not also making purples completely irrelevant in the same sense. But quite honestly, that is just my take on some of the important things I would love to see the game fix in the future. I am not going to sit here and go over every single thing that I've done in the past. I have multiple videos on my channel if you want to check out my true thoughts on everything here. I just wanted to make this video for the key points that are most important in my eyes, but also keep you guys updated as a community because you guys deserve that, and I felt the need to at least make a video to let people know that my 20-day hiatus isn't because of simple, I hate Borderlands, I'm not going to play it ever again, or I got bored. I wanted to be full on transparent with the situation and how I felt. I want to make content where I'm happy and feel the most comfortable with. If that means I play Borderlands 2 and post Borderlands 2, then that's probably what it's going to entail. But let me know, guys, because you guys are the people watching at the end of the day, and I am just making content and having fun. Would you want to see some playthrough videos? I know they're kind of overly saturated, and you know, my name isn't Jolts, dude, but I'm kidding. I love you, Jolts. But honestly, it's not something I am completely against. I am willing to post Borderlands 2 and Borderlands a pre-sequel for that matter, or anything Borderlands related. I do have a few videos in the tank I am going to be doing first, just to hold you guys over until I could finally think about some more important things I could do on the channel, because it's been a hectic month to say the least, and finding the space where I want my content to be has also been a pretty mind-numbing thing to think about. Self-reflection is a very important thing. And when you self-reflect on things in your life, if it be your YouTube channel, yourself, decisions you made in the past, or anything of the sort, it really opens your eyes to a lot of things. And I think that is very, very important for you as a person and just your health in general. All right, enough of psychology term X here. I'll let you guys go. I really do appreciate that you guys enjoyed today's video. If you did, it doesn't mean a lot if you guys hit the like button down below. Make sure you guys subscribe so you never miss out on another video from me. But you guys have a terrific day, and I will see you guys later.